Welcome to Tony Tutorials, Blender Tutorials. I thought today we would do rendering a scene to go into a storyboard. Now storyboards, as you know, are generally sketches, but I feel with Blender you can do your storyboard with nice three-dimensional pictures or 3D pictures. And this is my opening scene for a web series that I'm attempting called Floyd, from the No Money Down web series that we're doing together. Don't forget, kids, if you like this one, please sign up to Tony's Tony Tutorials. There's some guitar on there and all kinds of bits and pieces that I've been flapping around with. It should be beneficial to you. So let's start this tutorial. Now, we've got an open scene here. I've got nothing flash in here at all. I've got some sound which came from the image from C and I think it's C and G textures, where you can get free textures downloaded. I think you can download 3 a day for free. If you go above that, you have to pay. And as this is a no money down, make yourself a movie tutorial series, then we don't want to pay for it, do we, kids? So I've got some sand, I've got a mountain range, and I've got an obelisk. If I press play, we should have a character. Now that's a little loud, so what I'm going to do is go to my sound bar here, channel start frame, we'll go down, 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 track 1, I don't need it that loud, so I'm going to drop that down to about 0.3, so it's not deafening. Start that again. That's better. Ah, here's Melina. She sees the obelisk. She crouches down. She's not sure what she's looking at here. She's familiar to this part of the desert. She's never seen this before. Something new starts to rise up. It's going to communicate with her. She's frozen. She doesn't know what to do. You could animate her head here. It's still far too loud. Just drop it down to 1. You won't hear what I'm saying, which is probably a good thing. And there is Floyd. This is our main protagonist, along with Melina and another character which I'm going to introduce a little later on. So that's the end of that. That's finished that. Now, what I want to do is go through rendering. We're going to render this scene. We're going to render this scene. It needs cleaning up quite considerably. We're going to pitch this to Mr. Spielberg. He'll want to see everything going on, but we're just going to create a storyboard. So what we're going to do, we're going to press this little camera here, because we need to render this to get it into the scene, so we can start working with it for our storyboard. So I'm going to press this. Oh, by the way, to add a soundtrack, I don't know whether, if I press that, pull it up, makes that a little thicker. Roll, press your middle mouse wheel, take it up, makes it a little thicker. Oh, we've got 2. Oh, we've got and if you press add, you can add sound, you can add movie, and they come into here. So it's just adding things out of off your desktop and puts them into the movie sequence editor. Now you notice you've got figures here. I don't like this. I prefer to go show seconds. There you go. It's much easier to work with than to work with those other bits and pieces. Right, let's get on to render, me babbling on. So if I press that little camera at the top, I go into render animation. We've got several things here: resolution, pixels. I've got a start frame of 1 and an end frame of 1000 and a frame step of 1. So 1 step, 1 frame, 2 step, 2 steps, 2 frame. I'm using a frame rate of 30 frames per second, So every second it does 30 frames when it's playing a movie, not when it's rendering. When it's rendering it's a lot slower than that. And we've got aspect ratio, which we will leave alone. Anti-aliasing, I believe it is, or aliasing. This gives you a slightly more better quality. But stay at 8 at the default. There's no point in changing that. This is your rendering. Cubic, quadratic, tent, box. Will stay with this guy here. Sample blur, we don't need that. Shading, let's take that off. We don't need to shade. What we do need is this here. This is where it's going to tell Blender where to store your file. So if we click onto that, and I click onto that, and I'm going to make a new file. If I move myself out of the way, there it is. That's going to make me a brand new file, and this is tutorial tut open scene Melina and Floyd. Click away from it and you'll see tut opening scene Melina Floyd. Click onto that, puts it into this box here and accept. So that's going to go on a little folder, and I'll show you the folder. There's your folder, tut open scene, and it's on your desktop. So let's go back to rendering, RGB. Now I usually render in Xvid. Now a lot of people will say, oh well, use JPEG, because if your computer crashes you can recover it. With the Xvid you've lost it. But I find that I only render 1,000 at a time, then you cut and edit. And if you're going to do 4,000 or 5,000, you've got 4,000 or 5,000 still pictures that you can go back to, but it's no time just to go back, render your scene. It's only going to take you 20 minutes out of your life. And I find that with all those stills, my computer tends to go to sleep. So I find that using Xvid straight into a video package easier for me personally than using the JPEGs or PNGs. So I stay with Xvid. I've had no problems with rendering in Xvid. It's an RGB here, holds all my colour. Encoding, again it's Xvid here. You could use an MPEG-4 or all sorts of stuff here. That's usually quite popular, H.264, but I'm staying with Xvid. We'll come down here, your buffer, audio codec. Well, as you notice, I've got some audio in here. So what I want to do is click on there, and I'll put that as an MP3, which loads it into an MP3 file, which loads it into your video package. So I think I'm all set to go. 50%, that usually comes in on default at 100. I render usually at 50%. It divides the time into two, and it renders twice as quick. So what are we going to do? What we're going to do is going to press the animation button here, and we're going to animate. And there we go. I'm going to cut the, if I can find, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. I want to stop recording me. Right, let's have a look at our rendered image. Oh, she's got a couple of holes in the dress. Oh, never mind, we can fix that later with some vertices. As I say, this is for storyboarding, not the finished scene. We've got the sand, we've got the mountains, and we've got our protagonist, main title of the themes, which is Floyd. I've got her squatting down, she's frozen. Seen anything like this? She knows the desert well. She's not sure what she's looking at. But the rendering image has come out quite nicely. Oh, we finished there, so let's knock that down. So we've got our rendered image, which is pretty good, which is in our tutorial open scene there on your desktop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create some still images. Now you can do this with Movie Maker, window Movie Maker. Old Bill Gates, that old skinflint, has given us something free, which is great. You can take still photographs with it, so load your film clips into your movie editor, which is free. We don't need any bells and whistles. I bought Cyberlink once. It was full of bells and whistles, and when I came to download to YouTube, it wouldn't do it. So I thought, what a waste of time. So I went to Movie Maker, downloaded that, bingo, it downloads to YouTube, and I can get stills, and I don't need to put all the flash stuff in, because you can do that in the Blender movie editor. So instead of spending, like I did, $99 or $99 on Cyberlink, which wouldn't do what I wanted it to do, I went to old Bill Gates and got Windows Movie Maker. So I'm not going to do a tutorial on Movie Maker. There's lots out there on YouTube, but we're going to go to the next step, which is creating some stills and putting them into our storyboard. Okay, now here we are back at the desktop, back at the ranch. Now I've got my images. Image 75, image 76, 77, 78, 79. Now you know you can rename them just by pressing blah 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 and rename and typing in a name. But we're not going to bother with that at the moment, because I've got 75, 76, 77, 78 and 79. Now there's a wonderful piece of free software, script writing. Now many of you probably know of it, but some of you may not. And it's called Celtx or Celtx. This is it. Now if you go to your web browser and you type in Celtx, C-E-L-T-E-X 2.97, it'll put you onto the link and download it for free. You've got several options on the page. You can download it and use it on the called the studio, where you have to put all your work on the web. I don't like putting my work on the web unless I want to put it on the web, not Celtx putting it on the web. Or you can download a version straight to your desktop where you don't need to put it on the web. This is what we're going to use for all our script writing and our storyboarding. Today we're doing storyboarding and we're not doing writing at the moment. So what I'll do is click this, and up comes this dialog box, and we've got film, audio, visual. So I've never really used this. Media, breakdown, character construction. Maybe let me just take a look at this. Sorry about this, kids. Catalog, production, storyboard. I've gone on to storyboard. Generally you can just open and I'll go to storyboard, add an image, which is what we want to do. We want to add an image. Now it's got add image, add a sketch. Well, I can't draw for diddly squat, so there's no point me trying to draw. It'll be just a little stick man. I want a true image so I can show Mr. Spielberg. If I give him a little stick man, he's probably going to say, you know, don't bang your ass on the door on the way out. He probably will anyway, but at least you're not so embarrassed with your snapshot. So let's add this image. Now when you downloaded your images off Movie Maker, it slapped them into a folder. As you can see, it's a documents folder. And the first image we're going to add is image 75. And we're going to open, and there's image 75. Now here we have a little clip down. Now this was a wide shot, not a very wide shot, but a wide shot of that part of the desert. So what we're going to put here is medium close-up, cutaway, zoom in. We'll put a wide shot. We've got a wide shot, and we've got a little bit of script. So I'm going to put Melina. Sees something strange in the desert. So clip 1, Melina sees something strange in the desert. So let's add a second shot. Image. So let's add image 76. So let's go down in our documents. Image 76. Open. Now she's walking towards it, so camera's going to pan in. And we're going to put she walks toward strange image. Strange. What can we call it? It's a strange thing, isn't it? Let me think. Strange image. So that's cool. Now we're going to add another shot. And we're going to add shot 77. We're going to come down here, find 77, click on it, open image. It puts it in there for you. I don't want it huge in size, so I want to see what I'm doing. And we're going to pull that out a bit. And the camera's kind of close up of her, I suppose. Cut away, zoom in. We haven't really decided what we're going to do with the camera yet. It's not a close up of the image, it's a close up of her back, so I'll put close up. And Melina squats. Inquisitive. Inquisitive. So Melina squats inquisitive. And we're going to add another shot. That's, I think it's 79. I'm going to cut in and Floyd rises out of the desert. Now we're not going to add any sketches. I said I can't draw, but we've got those couple of sketches for our storyboard, and we're going to go File, and we're going to Save Project as Storyboard. Storyboard, I think it's one word, isn't it? For Mr. S.P.I. I think it's E.L.B. I think it's U.R.G. Or is it E.R.G. Berg, I guess. B. E.R.G. B.U.R.G. Sorry about this, fucking around. For Mr. Spielberg. I think you spell it that way. And we'll save that into our folder. So now what we've got we've got a storyboard now. The great thing about this storyboard, we can play it. We can say, hey, Melina walks up to there, she sees the obelisk. She walks up to the obelisk. She's there, she squats down. She's frozen in time as this image, this apparition, not an apparition, it's this solid thing, this mysterious creature or enmity, alien ship, ancient piece of architecture rises from the floor. So that's it, kids. That's the tutorial. If you enjoyed it, please, as I say, sign on. Is it called signing on? I forgot what you call it now. Subscribe. Please subscribe to Tony Tutorials. There's going to be a lot more of this to come. And I'll put some links on, and we're going to do some furniture design. We're going to do all kinds of stuff in here so we can present maybe a 30-minute movie or start a web series, and maybe even start doing a video game. And we'll get into all kinds of different software for free. So I hope you enjoyed this, kids, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.